this video, we're going to show you how to replace the fuel injector on your Dodge Ram. There's going to be 8 of them. We're just going to be replacing one of them. There is 4 located on the passenger side and 4 on the driver's side. Let's go ahead and use our 3/8 wrench. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this nut and remove the terminal. I'll go ahead and disconnect our terminal here. We'll go ahead and set that aside. Using our 8mm socket, we're going to go ahead and loosen the hose clamp here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this vacuum tube, pop this off. I'm going to undo the clasps or the locks on your air box. I'm going to get lift up on this here. And then go ahead and wiggle the intake tube off of the air box here. Go ahead and set that aside. Using a 10mm socket and extension, we want to go ahead to this front bolt down here. This is right behind the alternator, but this is securing the front side of the air box here. Okay. Right behind the oil fill cap here, there's another bolt here. Loosen that one. Go ahead and lift up on this. And on the front side here, you're going to find a sensor. I want to go ahead and disconnect that. There's a little spring tab on the bottom. We're going to pinch that and pull that connector off. And pull out and set that aside. We'll go ahead and remove our O-ring. Now I want to go ahead and cover this here. You can use a towel or anything like something like that. I am going to use rubber glove and just stretch it over like that and tuck that off. That's going to keep anything from falling down inside that throttle body. Now we're going to want to go ahead and pull up on our fuel rail here to do our injectors. You want to go ahead and make sure that the intake is clean of all debris, dirt and stuff like that. So when we pull this up, we don't have dirt and stuff falling down inside into the intake. So we're going to go ahead and use our blowgun to clean this off. Now on the passenger side of the engine, each ignition coil has 2 wires. We have one that goes to the spark plug, one that goes to the coil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Sharpie marker, and before we disconnect all of these here, I'm going to simply mark 1, 2, 3, 4. So that there upon installation, I can simply come back and put the 2 1s to the coil and the spark plug, 2 here, 3 here, and 4 there. So just a little 1, 1, 2, 2, and we can continue this. Now this isn't IDing what the actual firing order of the engine is. This is simply for our reinstallation. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect our ignition components here. now that we have all these disconnected, go ahead and pull the boots out. Now I want to disconnect the little retaining clips here. I'm going to push in on the little retaining tabs. It's going to be on 2 on each side here. We have 3 of the clips undone. The 4th one is underneath these 2 wires here. So we're going to open up this little spring clip. Pop that off. Pull these 2 wires and there's going to be a hole right here. You're literally going to reach down inside and bend the little tab and that'll release the lock on it. And we simply want to do this and pop that off. We're going to pull up on these red lock clips on our injectors. I'm going to use a pair of pliers here. I want to be careful not to damage any wires. Sometimes you can just reach in with your hand and pop those, but ours are pretty stuck. And it's okay if they pop out like that. And just kind of pop it back in. And with the red lock clips pulled up, you can now reach down and push on the little tab and pull up on the harness. So you're pinching this right here, releasing the lock. I'm going to do that for all of these. Now I want to go ahead and depressurize our fuel system here on the passenger side. On the front side here, we have a little plastic cap, and this is going to open up what we call a Schrader valve. With the battery disconnected and the vehicle has been sitting for about an hour or so, the fuel system should be basically depressurized. But what we're going to do is we're going to use our pocket screwdriver. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses. And when you push in on the center of this here, if there is any pressure in the injector rail, it is going to come out through here. So what we're simply going to do, we're going to press in on this and cover to catch any fuel or fuel pressure. There was no pressure there. So what we're doing is we're just basically pressing in on the center. Press in on that. So we no longer have any pressure here. Once that's done, go ahead and install that cap. I'm going to go ahead and pull up on this harness here and this harness in the front. Just going to undo these little clips here, pop that up like that. Do the same here. This will give us a little bit of flexibility here to go ahead and work on the fuel rail. If you find it necessary, you can go ahead and disconnect the coil wires as well. Now, if you do decide to disconnect the coil connector here, there is a red locking tab here. Use your pocket screwdriver. Just want to go ahead and pop this out. So once that lock tab pulls out that far, go ahead and press in on this little clip and disconnect it like that. Once you get that off, you can go ahead and do that to the other 3. So if you chose to disconnect all of the injector harnesses and the coils, it makes this easy. Go ahead and swing this away. Go ahead and remove our 2 8mm bolts holding the fuel rail in place. Now I want to go ahead and lift up on our fuel rail here. Now there's probably going to be some fuel left in here and in the injectors a little bit. So I have some towels ready to go, and probably just going to tuck them down around the injectors once we get this pulled up. Now if this is stuck, you can use a little pry tool or something to that effect to go ahead and lift up. We're just going to go ahead and gently wiggle this. Here we go. We have our injector rail and our injectors pulled out. Now on the back side of the injector and the rail here, there's a metal clip. We're simply going to put our screwdriver in there or your small pry tool. And we need to go ahead and pull this clip off. Just going to pry on that. Here's the locking clip that secures the injector to the rail. Grab that injector, and we're going to give that a good firm twist and a pull. There is an O-ring securing this in place. There's a little fuel popping or pouring out of that rail there. Nothing major, but here is the injector. Now if you're going to replace all of the injectors, simply do the same process right down the line. Then you're going to take your new injector, you're going to line that up and just work that O-ring up and in. Go ahead and twist that injector back up into place. And I want to go ahead and install our clip on our unit here. Snap that into place. I'm going to go ahead and lower the injectors down and in. Push that rail down. Once that screw bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. It doesn't have to be super, super tight. Just want to snug it into place. Go ahead and bring your harness over. Press our injector connectors into place. you push these on, you're going to hear them and feel them snap in. And then be sure that you want to push the red locks down. And connect your coil. And once those are all clipped in, press your red lock tab back over. Do that for all of them. Okay, and bring the ignition wires over. Good, line up all your little locking tabs here. I want to go ahead and route our wires into their original positions here. And this is where our labeling the coils and the ignition wires where they need to go. When you push these down onto the spark plug, you're going to feel it snap into place. And sometimes when you run these wires, you find that they can be routed a little bit differently. Like so. On the back side here, we have to push down our wires into the tray. Install our little lock clip here. Let's go ahead and slip the O-ring on here. Make sure that's fully seated. I'm going to take our upper box here. Make sure you can slide that onto the throttle body. Push that on. I'm going to go ahead and get our lower bolts lined up. We want to make sure we can get our connector for our sensor up and out of the way here. If you can, go ahead and get that bolt started by hand. Then we'll get this back one here started by hand. And let's go ahead and snug those down. Go ahead and snug these bolts down. And once those snug down, you're pretty much all set there. Then come over here, grab that connector, line that up, slip that on. You can hear it and feel it snap into place. Go ahead and line up the air tube there. Go ahead and work that into place. On the airbox base itself, there are notches on the top and there's tabs on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we can flex that box. Get those tabs to come through, lock that in. Go ahead and snap your clips back on. I want to install the vacuum tube here. Slip that on. I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the clamp here. And once that's snug, you're all set there. Go ahead and tighten down our bolt here.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.